Welcome back, everybody. It's JahannSurvival here. So we're going to continue where we left off yesterday, and we're going to start working on our playthrough of our newly created Necromancer. We're going to be doing a bow build with this character. I'm going to be doing a complete walkthrough as we go. We're going to do each section zone and break it down. We're going to look at things and why I'm making some of the choices I am, why I'm picking certain things to unlock, and we'll just talk about it as we go. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So right now, while we're loading the character, let's talk a little bit about what a bow character is and why that's significant, and what it means to do a solo build. So in ESO, or Elder Scrolls Online, you have several things that you look at when you're building a character. The first being, are you doing PvP content, PvE content, or solo?
Is someone out there? I could use your assistance. I'm quite trapped in here.
So we'll get to that in a second. So PvP is going to be player versus player content, and you're going to be playing against mainly other players. And you're going to build your character specifically for doing combat against other players. So you're going to be wanting spells and weapon attacks that apply more spell penetration or weapon penetration in order to get through their armor and stuff, in order to hit harder against other players. PvE is going to be very different yet, because you're going to be wanting to make a character based around your role, whether you're a tank, a healer, or damage dealer, or DPS. This character would be considered a DPS character for PvE content. Now, the third of that triad of those three that you're looking at would be a solo character. A solo character is one that's designed to play the game by yourself without the other two effects, being a tank or a healer. So as a solo character, you want it to be able to tank and heal yourself and be completely self-sufficient, which is what our goal is, which is also why I chose Necromancer. The Necromancer is one of the easiest characters to do that with, in my opinion. You can do it with any of them, but Necromancer is the easiest. Right out of the gate, you get some really powerful spells and abilities that allow you to be very self-sufficient fairly quickly. Now, the bow aspect implies that I'm going to be using primarily a bow for ranged stamina DPS. And that's how I'm going to do my damage, is by kiting things and holding a little bit of distance from them. And I'm going to do that between a mix of the character's abilities and things like that. Now, as we go, things are going to change, and we're going to morph certain abilities. Certain abilities we're not going to touch, other abilities we will. But we'll get into all of that as we're going. So without further ado, let's start out. So we have our character here, which is a Dark Elf Necromancer. And this is the starting zone right here. We're also going to talk about like what I'm picking up and why. So without further ado, let's start the first quest.
Oh, my thanks. Hear me out if you want to escape this place.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk to Fenneron here.
You were on the cart. I saw you before those witches caught us and tossed me in this stone box. Glad you're finally awake. Apologies for my ghastly appearance. I'm not feeling my best.
So this quest that we're doing is, we're also in the very starting area. So we're in the starting area for Greymoor content. So depending on which version of the game you have, or which DLC you currently have, will change the starting area of the game. For Greymoor, this is the starting area for Greymoor. So
Our precise location, I can only speculate. Somewhere in western Skyrim, I suppose. I was involved in my own investigation when the Ice Reach Coven Witch attacked. We can escape, but I desperately need your help first. The witches must have stashed my belongings nearby. Among them is a small flask. I can open the cell door. Once I do, I need you to retrieve that flask for me. I'll be too weak. And until I have it, you're in significant danger. I swear, I intend you no harm. If I don't get that flask back, however, my intentions won't matter. Retrieve it, then we'll break out of here together.
Okay. So while he's doing that, we're gonna go ahead and grab that. Some
Don't be
lockpicks,
afraid. This may be
a
jarring, but
recipe
it's a
for
necessary part of the
giant
plan.
tea, some more lockpicks. So everything I just picked up are all items you're gonna need for later content. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead. You can ignore that. We're gonna go ahead and learn this recipe.
Please,
Okay.
hurry and retrieve my
So you notice when we're sitting here, there's a compass on the top center of the screen, and you'll notice this little diamond looking thing. That's where our next quest point is. So we're gonna immediately just run straight to it. And do you notice Fenrir's flask? We're gonna go ahead and grab that and run it back to him.
Did you find it? Give it to me.
Okay. We're gonna ignore him for a second though, and we're gonna just check
Yes, that's better.
check the loot around here.
Thank
Nog
you. I
bone.
could feel my control slipping away.
It's just trash. There's no reason to pick it up. An iron dagger. We're gonna go ahead and grab that. We're not gonna use it per se right now, but we may. We're gonna have to use a two-handed sword initially. That's what it's gonna give you. Rye is an ingredient, as is Jingung. So when you're looking at things like this that I just picked up, there's some very important things to consider, and that is, do you have ESO Plus or not? If you do have ESO Plus, pick everything up. Pick all of the ingredients you can up, and it'll pay off in the long run. However, if you have just a basic version of the game, I don't recommend picking up any ingredients, because you're just going to run out of storage space before you can even really get out of the starting zone. And I would focus more on picking up gear and things like lockpicks, things that are going to be directly usable right away. Such as, for example, for decorative wax, it's good, but if you don't have ESO Plus, it's going to take up space in your inventory that you don't have. So it's better just to not grab it. As soon as we talk to him, it's going to take us to another area, which is why I'm just opening up everything right here, right now. Now, every time you open these containers, it's going to have different items in it. And there's always a chance that you can get some pretty good items out of crates and things like that. On the starting area, it's usually going to be fairly basic items that you find. Nothing super spectacular. But like, we already have 4 or 5 of those lock picks now. Lock picks are something that are going to be very, very useful as we play, but they're not hard to get. They're just more nice to have, and the sooner you get them, the nicer it's going to be. Oh, I didn't mean to pick that up. That's okay, we can sell it later. So there are coins here. Those clearly always pick up coins. Sometimes you have to get creative to see things. Or maybe you just can't loot that item. Okay. I think we can loot this as well. Okay, so now we're going to go talk to him. We've searched everything in the area. So let's go talk to Fen again.
Yes, that was blood. But I swear there's no cause for alarm. Not every vampire is a monster. I'm part of a group that only drinks from willing donors. We regulate the actions of less scrupulous vampires. I belong to House Ravenwatch, one of the noble houses of Rivenspire. We adhere to the teachings of our founder, Count Verandis Ravenwatch. We take no blood by force. We help those in need, and we curtail the actions of more hostile vampires. We go where we're needed. I was investigating a burial site in Bankarai when I discovered smugglers stealing ancient remains. I followed the trail, ran into the witch, and, well, you know the rest. Now, we need to get out of here. Sort of. I regained enough of my senses when they carried me in here to remember the way out. It's pretty straightforward. I'll guide the way if you defend us from anyone who blocks our path. If we work together, I'm certain we can escape. Follow closely. You never know what's wandering around in these old barrows.
So right away you already see the updated. Now the icon that you're seeing right now on this door, right there, the center of that door, that is an icon displaying that the quest is going to be on the other side of the store. So you're gonna want to go through the door.
I wonder why the witches are storing all these things.
So we're gonna
see if you can find a weapon. I'll grab something more suited to my skills.
All of our items here that we can. So what I like to do in this instance is I like to pick up all of the armors in that, and then what I'll do, so I like to pick everything up initially that spawns right here, and then I'll take a moment and I'll show you this once we get it all picked up. Shouldn't take me but a second. What we're going to do after this is we're actually going to go through all of the armor and weapons that we pick up and figure out what we can keep and what we don't need. And that's going to change depending on what you're planning on doing with your character. So, still a whole nother side over here of stuff to pick up. Just give me a second to do that. See all this? Looks like there's a lot of shields that spawned in this time. So most of those shields, actually all the shields pretty much, I can already tell you we're going to drop. Mainly we're trying to get stuff like this right here. And that's armor. So initially, armor at this point in the game, unless you already have armor and stuff made for your character, you're probably not going to, in which case you're not going to use any of that armor. It's best just to take the armor you get and put it on. So we're going to go to press I, and you can see it immediately puts all of it in our inventory, which is right here. On the left hand side of the screen, you can tell we only have 3 garments on. We have Forgotten Adventurer shirt, boots, and trousers. So on the right hand side of the screen, we have all weapons, armor, jewelry, consumables, materials, furnishings, miscellaneous quest-related items, and junk. And there's even more. If you click up here, you have your ESO membership bag, which is a crafting item bag. So this is what I was referring to. If you're going to have an ESO account, it's best if you go ahead and just pick up all the items you can. I have a couple other characters already, which is why there's items in here. But you can see these will take up a lot of space very quickly. And with ESO Plus, you end up with an endless bag. Same with currencies and quick slots. So we're going to start by going straight to armor. And I like to start with the light armor. We're actually going to be using medium armor, so let's go there. There's only one piece in medium armor, which is our boots. So let's go ahead and put those on. And then we'll go to light armor. Let's go to heavy armor and see what we got. There's a heavy chest piece. We already have medium boots on, so let's go ahead and drop all of this. So we don't need it. Or sorry, we're gonna destroy it. Same with these. We already have boots on, so we can just go ahead and drop these. Now, depending on whether you're trying to go Magicka, Stamina, or Tank, will greatly change how you approach the game. We're trying to do a Stamina build, so Stamina is going to primarily be a medium armor build class. But we still want some of the other items on our character. So we already have gloves on. We put light gloves on. So let's go ahead and destroy that. We're going to go ahead and put all of that on because it's there. Now you'll notice now that we have 3 pieces, we unlocked a new skill. And it's not necessarily a skill, it's a skill tree for heavy armor. We're going to go ahead and just like leave that and ignore it for right now. And I hate the look of armor. So we're gonna go to collections and appearance, and then we're gonna go to hats, and I'm gonna set to active because I don't want to see the helmet. And then we also need to equip our sword. So you're gonna go into weapons. Now we have two weapons here. We have an ancient Nord greatsword here, and then we have an iron dagger, which we'll use that in the next room. I don't think there's any other weapons in this room.
That looks dangerous enough.
Sometimes
now come on, this way.
Weapons that spawn in here, but I don't think there are any weapons spawned. Yeah, no weapons spawned. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the next room. Which, yet again, you're looking for that. You can go ahead and open the door.
What are you two doing out?
Okay, so this part of the game is going to immediately teach you
That's the brute who threw us in our cell. We have to get past him.
It's going to immediately teach you how to play the
You
game.
two milk drinkers back in your cage.
The only
So,
way out is through
left click is going to be your attack.
Strike him with a light attack. Hit him again.
It'll tell you on screen what to do.
But you can't withstand this.
Don't let his head strike him while he's off balance.
You're going to hold right click to block, and then you're going to
Defend yourself. Strike back.
hold down left click to perform a heavy attack, and that'll knock him down on the ground like that.
Lock that attack. Hit him.
And you can press, and it does.
What you can't
You
see.
can press the advantage, and it'll do more damage.
Break free from that stun.
And if you click both together, it'll break free. If you're
Can't
stunned.
get out of that. Now, press your advantage with the heavy attack.
So, I can't do a heavy attack. So, if he does that, you're gonna block and then click left click to to interrupt his ability. So to interrupt, you're gonna hold block. That's not what I mean. It's what I mean to do a heavy attack.
End this.
So you're gonna do it block followed by that.
The smell of zombies.
Okay, let's go ahead and pick everything up really quick. Now, always, if you can, check bookcases. You never know what it's going to give you. Like this skill line gained two-handed. We literally just gained that off of a bookcase. So it's always important to read books because you never know what you're actually going to get out of them. Sometimes you'll get good things, sometimes you won't get anything, but there's such a chance, there's that small chance that you'll get something needed that you need to level up. So it's just better just to always check. You're following me around, which makes this really hard to loot everything. I am what's referred to as a loot goblin, so I like to loot literally everything that I can. As we get into the game, we'll get more into the combat system, but the basis for the combat system is you have spells, weapon attacks, heals, and things like of that nature. I think that's everything up here. I'm gonna have a second to pick all that up. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go over the combat system really quick. So left click is light attack, just quickly left clicking. I don't know if you can hear it clicking, but okay, now to do a heavy attack, you're gonna hold left click and it's gonna perform a heavy attack, and it's gonna keep doing them until you let off. Now to block is right click, so you can tell now we're gonna block. Now if you want to forward bash while block, you're going to, while holding your right mouse button down, you're gonna go ahead and click the left mouse button. And then you can also double tap your directional keys and any direction like that, and you'll do a perform a dodge roll in that direction. And if you want to resheath your weapon for role-playing purposes, you can press Z and it will reholster or sheath your weapon. But for right now, we're going to worry about leveling up to level 2. So let's hit claim now, which is F. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see what benefits you're getting from going to level 2. Spend skill points to gain new abilities, spend attribute points to increase magicka, health, and stamina. Get to that in a second. So you get 1 attribute point and 1 skill point. I'm going to go ahead and claim that. Now it also does future rewards, so it shows you what you're going to get next level, as well as your next milestone award, which is level 5. And then you have attribute points to spend, used to increase the health, magicka, and stamina. So for this, right now, the first thing we're going to do is put a point in the stamina. That's going to give us more stamina to do the abilities and that we need to right out of the gate. And then you're going to press E to commit to it. And it's going to immediately take you to here, which is your skill tree. So class, I am a necromancer. And we're going to go ahead and click. So you have 3 subclasses to my main class. And you're going to take abilities from each of these different trees. So we have Gravelord, where we get a flaming skull to throw. You get Bone Tyrant, where you get a death scythe. And then you have Living Dead, where you get Render Flesh, which is sacrifice your own power to repair damaged flesh, healing you and an ally in front of you for 6,448 health, but applying minor defile to yourself for 4 seconds, reducing your healing received and healing recovery by 8 seconds. The next thing we have is we have weapons. So each weapon is going to have its own tree as well to do. We're not going to touch this tree because this is two-handed, and we're wanting to do a bow build. So what we're going to start with is eventually we're going to need to get all of these maxed out. But for right now, the first one we're going to want to do is this one, which is a ranged attack. And it's telling you can place it. And at the bottom of the screen, you have 5 ability slots and an ultimate slot. So with those 5 ability slots, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then R for your ultimate. So each of these 3 abilities, you have 5 different abilities for several different passives. The number of passives change depending on what it is. I believe for this class they all have 4, and then they'll all have an ultimate. Now your different armor things like armor, for example, will just have passive abilities and either an active or a ultimate ability. Weapons will have an ultimate ability as well as 5 regular abilities, and then anywhere from 3 or 4 to I think 6 or 7 passive abilities. And then you also have crafting, which we're not going to get into in this video. So for first, we're going to do the Flaming Skull, and the reason I want to do this one first is I want to level this skill tree first, because one of the things I want is this ability right here, Skeletal Mage. And the reason is each ability you can morph into other abilities, and I want the morph ability Skeletal Archer from that ability. Some of the other abilities I know for a fact we're going to want. Bone Armor is going to be very useful for us, as will Death Scythe, and then some of these as well. I have to look a little deeper at those before I decide. Now, go to all. So we got another recipe, so we're just going to double click that and immediately learn it. And then this game also has a food and drink system. So we're going to look at the food and drinks that we have. So we have Jasmine Tea, which is increased magicka recovery by 532 for 35 minutes with a 5-second cooldown. Then you have increased max stamina by 7,415 for 35 minutes. And then we have max health for 7513. So the one we're going to want to do is stamina. So we're going to go ahead and double click that, and we're going to go ahead and eat that. We can also drop these shields right here, or destroy them. We're not going to destroy this third one because it's green, and we can actually use that later on. And the clothes you started out with, you're going to want to go ahead and destroy as well, because it's not really useful. Alrighty, so we're going to go to the next room now.
More weapons. Grab anything you think might be useful.
Okay. So go ahead and loot that. And there's going to be weapons in here, so hopefully we can find... I don't think we can find a bow in here. But we're going to look and see if we can find a bow. I do know that there is going to be a lot more medium armor in here. We don't need this. We can pick up all the swords and axes. And I'll show you why in a second. So the reason we're picking literally everything up is I want to be able to sort through it quickly. And it's easier to sort through it when it's in your inventory and just drop it for me.
Witch's attack left.
Than it is to try and figure out what's what when it's still on the ground. And the reason is I can see the stats and I can tell.
The witch's attack.
Getting tired of clicking on him. And I can tell what each item is a little bit faster. And with that, yeah, there's, I think bow. I think you can pick up a bow in the next room. So let's get up here. So we're gonna, before we go any further, we're gonna switch this a little bit. So we're gonna immediately go to weapons. One-handed. So these are all the one-handed weapons that we have. So you have an iron dagger, an iron sword, an axe, and another sword. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop these axes because I don't need an axe. And by drop I mean destroy. And you can't really sell any of this stuff for anything. Did I just equip that? Or mark as junk? I think I just marked that as junk. I did. Destroy. So in one-handed we have that. So we're gonna go ahead and equip both of those really fast. And there's a spider back here. So all you have to do when you're trying to is you just have to kill something. You notice now we just unlocked the dual wield tree. So we're gonna go ahead and go to here. And we're gonna go ahead and equip that sword. Now we have a sword and shield. Let's go to the next room. We're gonna kill something with each of the different weapons. And the reason we're gonna do that is we don't need every single weapon, but we do need. There wouldn't be a bow.
Giant frostbite spider.
Bullshit.
Kill it, my friend.
So we're gonna go ahead and. So we're gonna use the sword and bow, and you can see. Watch.
The door ahead. You go first.
Okay. So there's a bow. So all you have to do is kill one thing with a weapon combination, and it will unlock that skill line for you. So we already did this skill line, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the next skill line. So we're gonna go to. We already have two-handed unlocked, so we can go ahead and destroy these two-handed weapons. And both of these bows are exactly the same, so let's go ahead and destroy one. We can get rid of this ancient Nord sword. Same with the two-handed battle axes. Same with the one-handed. We can get rid of the dagger and the greatsword. So basically what's left is the bow and staffs. So there's going to be two primary types of staff. You're going to have damage staffs, which you can have fire, frost, storm, or sorry, not storm, lightning, or fire, frost, and lightning. And then you can also have restoration staffs. So we have 2 Inferno staffs, which are both going to be fire staffs. So we're going to go ahead and equip this fire staff and drop this. So all we got to do is kill that little spider, and immediately we unlock destruction staffs. So now let's go ahead and equip that, the bow, which is what we're going to primarily use. So we can get rid of that. And there you go. Now we unlock the bow line as well. I don't think there's anything else here for us, so we're going to go ahead and move to the next room. Now, killing those little insects like that, you can open up a skill tree with it, but otherwise there's not a lot of reason to usually kill the insects unless you're trying to get guts for fishing or something of that nature. And that's going to be another player right
to
there.
the exit. Quick, hide. Look up
Now
on the
you're going to
bridge.
hit left control to sneak and hide.
As you'll see, the storm's effects will be quite devastating.
As long as everything is ready for the first harvest, Gamma, I will be pleased.
Very curious. Let's talk for a moment.
Okay.
That was Urgala, leader of this branch of the Ice Reach Coven. She's the witch who locked us in the barrow. The others take their orders from her. I'm not sure, but I believe he's one of my kind. They mentioned a devastating storm. We need to find out exactly what they have planned. My apologies, but we're going to have to postpone our escape. We'll make an investigator out of you yet. I need to figure out how those stolen remains, the Ice Reach Coven, and that vampire are connected. Let's catch up to Urgala and her guest, and see what we can find out.
Okay. So I'm trying to focus this on building a character and doing a learning experience for you guys. So we're gonna stop right here first, and we're gonna go through the armor now. Excuse me. So we already have. So we're gonna start at heavy armor. We already unlocked the heavy armor tree. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of this. So we already have unlocked the heavy armor tree. We have all the heavy armor on that we want on. We don't want to put on any more heavy armor than what we already have. And the reason being is we're not trying to go for heavy armor sets right now. We're going to be focusing on medium. So we already have medium boots on. And you can tell if we hold our mouse key over it like this, you can see on the right side it shows feet medium, rawhide boots. That's what currently we're holding the mouse over. And then on the left it says what's currently equipped in that slot. So these are actually a little bit better for armor, so let's go ahead and equip those. And if we hold it over these, they're exactly the same. So let's go ahead and destroy these 2 sets of boots. And we're going to hold this over. So you see it says light armor. So we're going to unlock light armor really quick by putting on those and those. And we just unlocked the skill for those. So let's go ahead and destroy this and these. We're going to keep the heavy armor on our chest piece, but we're going to go back to our medium and we're going to put on these pieces to unlock the skill tree. And then we're going to go back to heavy armor, destroy the shoulders, and then we want to put the heavy chest piece back on because it's optimal to have for leveling it's best if you have one of each item at least. So we have heavy head still, light shoulders, medium hands, no legs yet, medium feet. So eventually we're going to want mostly medium with 1 heavy and 1 light armor piece, which is almost what we have now. Let's go ahead and destroy that. Heavy. Okay. There we go. go ahead and get rid of this piece, and we're going to keep that for now. So let's go through this door and go to the next area.
Should be able to catch up with Matron Ogala through here.
Okay, so this part we're going to pretty much just run through really fast. And you'll get a little bit of gameplay right here. I'm gonna try not to talk too much so we can just get the gameplay. So early on in the game, it's really not hard to kill things. In this zone, it's going to be super easy while you're still in the tutorial zone, which is where we are right now. Okay. Like you can tell, I'm not having to put a lot of effort in to kill these things. A couple of hits and it's dead. Now, I'm not really looking at what I'm picking up, I'm just picking up everything.
Witches and their servants are everywhere. We could sneak through if you wish to avoid more battles.
So we're going to go ahead and do that. So you can left control to sneak. So I'm going to go right through here. Okay. Let's move on to the next area. So we got another guy there. So we're just gonna run through this part. Not really gonna search everything, I'm just gonna kinda quick.
It should be just up ahead. Hurry!
We are gonna hit the bookshelf though. Looks like there's a staff there. We're not going to try and get that. We're going to grab that stew, because food early on is really hard to come by unless somebody gives it to you. And it gives a massive boost to your character. For either stamina, magicka, or health.
Look, the sky!
Or a combination of the two.
We must reach that clearing!
If we just kill things right here, you will get XP for everything you kill over here, which will help you level up. Usually you can get out between level 2 and level 4. So we're just going to kill as much as we can right here. We're not going to spend a lot of time. So, grab that torch bug. Let's go back this way. Yep. I want to go down the hill. And they'll have gold on them, pretty much. So you want to go ahead and loot. If you kill something, go ahead and loot it. So we killed him. It was just him. Just Finn getting in our way. Okay. Space bar to jump, by the way. Okay. So that's where we're headed to right there. So let's go up the stairs. Sorry, okay, he's dead.
A door up ahead. Looks like the way up to the clearing.
So, like I said, most of the enemies here are really easy to kill. It won't take us very long to kill them. even the boss fight we're getting ready to go to right now is pretty easy to kill.
Place is thick with Coven members. Be on your guard.
So we're gonna go ahead and kill. Kill him because we want to search these bookshelves again. So we just leveled up enchanting level 2 from that bookshelf, which unlocked another skill line for us. Can't remember if there's anything in this area really for us to loot, so I'm just gonna run through fairly quickly here. And then up the stairs. Okay, I think there's stuff to loot over here. Actually, I was wrong. Okay, let's go across the bridge over here and up the stairs and outside. And this should take us to the last section, really, of... We're close to it, and we'll be almost done with the tutorial area. Once we're out of the tutorial area, that's where the game really begins, and where we can really start enjoying it for what it is, which is a MMORPG. It's extremely open.
Maybe they're the same symbol as the ones I saw in Bank.
Extremely open world. That's another player just ahead of us. So you'll see, if you notice across right underneath the thing, you'll see Tuyo the Wise, which is that player's character's name.
The Harrow Storm ritual is a
You
thing of
escaped.
beauty,
No
Nogara.
matter.
I'll be in
Pursuing all
touch
of
after
Skyrim. Your efforts mean
The storm. Somehow that pike is involved. Kill Urgala. Maybe that will stop the storm from growing.
There we go.
You did it. The storm's dissipated.
Okay.
I wish we could have learned more before we killed Matron Urgala. I still don't understand what the Coven has planned. And it's the not knowing that worries me. That's true. And we stopped that storm. My investigations have led to even darker corners, but progress has been made. Here, consider this a stipend from Ravenwatch. For your valuable assistance, of course. Now let's get out of here.
So these are 3 things you're going to get at the end of the tutorial, no matter what DLC you have. So we're going to get Traveler's Luggage, 1 skill point, and a skill line Soul Magic. So we're going to go ahead and complete
The
that.
Ice Reach Coven's presence in Western Skyrim concerns me. But we need to keep moving. The path down is through those doors. Outside, I'll point you towards Solitude. Go to the city and warn them. Whatever the Coven has planned, it didn't end here. Not right now. Other members of the Ravenwatch came here ahead of me. They'll be interested in the vampire we saw, and I need to get word to them. Besides, I want to follow the trail while it's fresh. So it only makes sense that you warn Solitude. We're in the hold of Hofengar in western Skyrim. Solitude is its capital city, and the seat of High King Svargrim. If we can find any help against the Coven, it will be there. Head to Solitude and let the authorities know what happened here. The Nords don't tolerate Reachmen in their territory. Once you warn the gods, I'm sure High King Svargrim will dispatch his troops. The Coven's threat is as good as done. But just in case, I'll tell my fellow Ravenwatch what happened here. As I said, my investigation began in an ancient burial site in Bankurai. Drogakin were using similar urns, filling them with remains. Most disturbing, the ash and bones belonged to a dark army that once roamed the land. The Grey Host. I have no idea. When I stumbled into this nest of Coven witches, I never expected to find a connection to the Drogakin and the burial urns. And that vampire we saw. There's something more at play than we know. We need to find out what.
Okay, so that was a pretty good intro to the game. So we're gonna go ahead and claim this next level. I'm gonna put another skill point in stamina. And we're gonna go to Bone Tyrant. Actually, we're gonna go to weapons. So now we have all of these different weapon skills. So we're gonna start with the bow. And we're just gonna select snipe, because that's gonna be our next main weapon source there. And we still have one more skill point, so we're gonna go to Bone Tyrant. And we're gonna unlock Bone Tyrant. I'm gonna switch those two. Okay. Now we're gonna come back over here around this way to the door. And we're gonna leave this area. So now that we're out of the main
This
tutorial,
way, my friend.
you're gonna have this pop up, which is just like a newsletter thing. Just hit Alt to close it. Now, if you click skipped tutorial, you'll spawn right here with a two-handed sword at level 2, I think it is.
Solitude of the danger. I need to make contact with the Raven Watch.
Yeah, I think you'll spawn at level 2 or 3. And then we just run out here to the end. And we're gonna get to the next zone really quick for the quest that we're doing. Which won't take very long, but we're gonna go ahead and head down the hill to this funky looking structure. So these are called way shrines. These are going to be one of the most important things you pick up in different areas of the map. They're what allow you to fast travel. So you'll see here, fast travel network. So it automatically gives us this one. So we're going to go ahead and left click on it and confirm travel to way shrine. And there we go. We just moved halfway across this zone. We're not going to talk to him yet because that's going to be for our next video. In the meantime, we're going to check this really quick. So we got all of our skill points spent. We're going to look over our character. What to see. So we're going to come here to our inventory. We're going to grab the Traveler's Lounge or Traveler's Luggage and take all. Now for weapons, so we currently have a maple bow. We're actually going to switch to this cast-off bow. And the reason being, it gives an increase in weapon damage and spell damage by 268 for 5 seconds. It also has the training ability, which increases experience gained by 5%. So that's something we want while leveling. So we're going to go ahead and equip that. And then we can sell. Oh, we can sell this. We're gonna have to destroy it. Same with this dagger and this maple bow. We're gonna go ahead and destroy all of those because we can't sell them. Now we're gonna come here to the next thing, which is greaves. Now it gave us heavy greaves, so we're gonna go ahead and put those on just because we don't have any other type. So, and we're also gonna put on our waist because we just yet again don't have any other type. Ultimately, we want that to all be medium armor, but for right now, that's what we got. We also got a Solitude Locket, which is a neck piece, so we're going to go ahead and put that on as well. Now you have neck pieces and rings. You'll have 2 rings and 1 neck piece. Let's go ahead and learn this recipe as well. We'll do that. Alrighty. So here's our character as stands at the end of the tutorial. We already look a little bit like a badass. And with that said, thank you all for coming. I hope you all had a wonderful time learning. And I'll catch you all next time as we do this playthrough on our Necros Bobo solo character. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you again.